The Cannonball Run is remembered for its outrageous stunts, all-star cast, and over-the-top humor. But the behind-the-scenes truth is even crazier. From real-life protests to on-set chaos and hidden cameos, this movie was full of surprises. Here are the little-known facts and behind-the-scenes stories even the biggest fans may have missed. Let's get on. Let's talk about number 1. You might think this was just Hollywood madness, but the truth is even crazier. The Cannonball Run wasn't just some wild Hollywood comedy filled with flashy cars and over-the-top stunts. It was based on a real event, one that was illegal, dangerous, and completely outrageous. In 1971, Brock Yates, a seasoned automotive journalist, teamed up with legendary race car driver Dan Gurney for a cross-country stunt that would go down in underground history. Their mission? Drive from New York to California as fast as humanly possible. Not for fame, not for money, but as a direct protest against the national speed limit. At the time, the U.S. government had tightened the leash on how fast anyone could legally drive, citing safety and fuel efficiency. Yates and Gurney didn't buy it. They believed that skilled, experienced drivers could handle high speeds safely. So, to prove their point, they got in a car and tore across the country. They made the trip from coast to coast in just under 36 hours. No official permission, no rules, and definitely no concern for the highway patrol. But what started as a stunt quickly became something more. Their run ignited a spark. Word spread, and soon, other drivers wanted in. Over the next few years, 5 more Cannonball-style races unfolded in secret. These weren't small-time joyrides. These were full-blown, no-holds-barred dashes across the country. Drivers from all over the United States jumped at the chance to defy the system. Some showed up with exotic Ferraris and souped-up muscle cars, ready to test the limits of their engines and the law. Others came in disguise, using tricks and fake credentials to avoid getting caught. One team infamously rolled up in a real ambulance, complete with sirens, flashing lights, and forged medical paperwork. They weren't just pretending. They fully committed to the role, going as far as wearing medical uniforms to convince authorities that they were on an emergency run. And it worked. Police let them pass, totally unaware they were helping someone win an illegal race. These races had no organization, no governing body, and definitely no safety guarantees. It was pure chaos, driven by adrenaline and rebellion. There were no rules, only the unspoken challenge. Get there first, whatever it takes. People loved it for that exact reason. It was fast. It was reckless. It was everything the legal system hated and every speed junkie dreamed of. Moving on to number 2, speaking of the real creator, he actually snuck into his own movie. Most fans don't realize it, but Brock Yates actually appears in the Cannonball Run movie. He plays one of the race officials, just a small background role. But here's the fun part, he wasn't really acting. In real life, he was the man behind the entire Cannonball idea. He created it, organized it, and even drove in the first race. Yates was a writer for Car and Driver magazine and a huge fan of fast cars and open roads. When the government set a strict national speed limit, he thought it was nonsense. So instead of writing angry articles, he made a plan. That plan became the Cannonball Baker C to Shining C Memorial Trophy -yes. That's the full name. He wanted to show that skilled drivers could handle high speeds safely across long distances. He didn't just write about it, he did it. And then, years later, when Hollywood made a movie based on the race, Yates was right there on set, playing the same role he had in real life. Let's talk about number 3, that beat-up ambulance wasn't just a prop either. That strange-looking Dodge ambulance in the Cannonball Run wasn't just a movie prop. It was the exact same vehicle Brock Yates used in the real 1979 Cannonball race. Yates and director Hal Needham entered the race that year with a wild plan. They bought an actual working ambulance and used it to trick police officers into thinking they were on emergency medical business. They even hired a fake doctor and had a patient in the back. It was one of the cleverest disguises in the history of the race. And it worked most of the time. But things didn't go smoothly. Near Palm Springs, during the actual race, the ambulance caught fire. It overheated under the desert sun and nearly ended their run. Still, the team pushed through and made it to the finish. When a movie was being made, they didn't just find a look-alike vehicle. They used the exact same Dodge ambulance from the real race. So when you see Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise racing across the country in that beat-up van, remember it had already done the job in real life. Moving on to number 4, here's the twist that'll blow your mind about the star himself. Burt Reynolds was the face of the Cannonball Run, but he didn't exactly love being part of it. In fact, he later called it one of the worst decisions of his career. So why did he even do it? Simple. His friend Hal Needham asked him to. Needham, the director of the movie, had worked with Reynolds before on other action comedies like Smokey and the Bandit. They had a strong friendship and trusted each other. So when Hal pitched the idea of a wild cross-country race filled with jokes and chaos, Reynolds agreed without much hesitation. But once filming started, Reynolds quickly realized the movie wasn't what he expected. He didn't like the script and thought the whole thing was too silly. In interviews, he admitted he only took the role for the paycheck and to help out a friend. The twist? Audiences loved it. The Cannonball Run became a box office hit and remains a fan favorite to this day. Reynolds may have hated the film, but it still helps cement his image as the cool, charming daredevil. Sometimes it is the roles actors regret the most that end up being the ones fans never forget. Let's dive into number 5. The confusion didn't stop with Reynolds. One actress had no clue what she'd signed up for. Farrah Fawcett thought she was filming a serious action romance. She read the script, saw the fast cars and love angle, and believed it was a dramatic road movie. No one told her it was supposed to be funny. Then things got strange. Dean Martin showed up on set wearing a priest outfit. He was clearly drunk and laughing through his lines. Sammy Davis Jr. was also dressed as a priest, cracking jokes between takes. Farrah started to wonder what kind of movie this really was. She kept going, still thinking the tone would be serious. She didn't figure it out until the movie premiere. Sitting in the theater, she watched the finished film for the first time. The crowd was laughing, the scenes were full of chaos, and the mood was nothing like she expected. That's when it finally hit her. It was a full comedy. Looking back, her confusion actually made her performance better. She played it straight, which made the comedy around her even funnier. Even though she had no idea what kind of movie she was in, Farrah still became one of the most memorable parts of it. Sometimes being lost works out just fine. Moving to number 6, sometimes the best casting happens by accident. Sammy Davis Jr. wasn't supposed to be in the Cannonball Run. The role he played was originally meant for Don Rickles. But at the last minute, Rickles dropped out. That left the team scrambling for someone who could bring charm, comedy, and energy to the role. Enter Sammy Davis Jr. He agreed to join on short notice, and despite having little prep time, he completely stole the show. Dressed as a priest alongside Dean Martin, Sammy brought in his style, quick wit, and smooth delivery. He wasn't just playing a character, he was having fun with it. His chemistry with Martin was natural and hilarious. The two bounced off each other like they'd been a comedy duo for years. Sammy's scenes became some of the funniest in the movie as he played off the chaos with ease, cracking jokes, singing lines, adding real personality to every moment. Although not the first choice, he quickly became one of the best parts of the film. Fans loved him, critics praised him, and the movie picked up even more energy because he was part of it. What started as a last-minute change turned into a casting win. Let's get to number 7. Those two weren't just acting loose, they really were. Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. weren't just pretending to be tipsy priests in the Cannonball Run. They were actually drunk during filming. The drinks in their hands weren't props. They really sipped alcohol on set, and it showed. Their scenes were full of laughter, slurred prayers, and off-the-cuff jokes that made it into the final cut. Most of their lines weren't even in the script. They improvised almost everything. Director Hal Needham saw what was happening and decided not to fight it. Instead of trying to control them, he let them go wild. He figured it added to the chaos and charm of the movie, and he was right.